In a profession primarily dominated by men, the dismissal of female police officers often garners attention and ignites heated discussions. However, this isn't always the scenario. Occasionally, these officers become excessively consumed by their power, leading to controversial outcomes. Join us as we delve into the riveting world of law enforcement and uncover the untold stories of women who face termination from their positions. From controversial use of force incidents to ethical dilemmas, this gripping video exposes the hidden side of female officers' careers, shedding light on the complexities and controversies that led to their ultimate downfall. Brace yourself for a thought-provoking exploration of the untold tales of when female cops get fired. Courtney Brown and Christy Wilson. In the quiet city of Roswell, Georgia, two police officers found themselves entangled in a rather peculiar situation. It all began on a rainy April day when the bustling traffic and the pitter-patter of raindrops created a symphony of chaos on the streets. In the midst of this chaotic scene, a 24-year-old motorist named Sarah Webb found herself racing against time. Late for work at an Atlanta hair salon, she pressed her foot down on the accelerator, zooming past two vigilant police officers who were stationed nearby. Her car whizzed by at a lightning speed of approximately 80 miles per hour, leaving the officers startled and bewildered. The officers, both females, exchanged glances, recognizing the need to take action. Sarah's reckless behavior had jeopardized the safety of others on the wet road. A discussion ensued between them, contemplating whether to issue a mere speeding ticket or to take more severe measures by arresting her for reckless driving. In an unprecedented turn of events, an idea flashed across their minds. They decided to leave the decision to fate itself, invoking an age-old tradition of letting chance decide the outcome. A coin toss. Heads would determine an arrest, where tails would result in her release. It was an audacious decision, an unconventional twist in the usual routine of law enforcement. Officer Courtney Brown, her eyes gleaming with mischief, reached for her mobile phone, summoning a coin flip app that would settle their fateful decision. With a flick of her thumb, the digital coin soared through the air, twirling in a virtual dance of destiny. As the app completed its calculations, an invisible hand of fate tipped the scales against Sarah Webb. Brown and her partner in crime, Officer Christy Wilson, stifled giggles as they prepared to write up the charges. Little did they know that their clandestine coin toss had been caught on camera. At an Atlanta news station, 11 Alive stumbled upon the footage, eager to expose the particular incident to the world. Sensing the urgency of the matter, they promptly informed Sarah Webb, who wasted no time in requesting to see the incriminating evidence. As the footage was unveiled to the public, the city watched in disbelief. Outrage swept through the community as the people witnessed the whimsical means by which a life-altering decision had been made. The court of public opinion passed its judgment swiftly, demanding justice for Sarah's unjust plight. Finally, on a fateful day in July, Sarah stood before the judge, her heart pounding with uncertainty. However, as the footage played out in the courtroom, the chances against her began to crumble like a house of cards. The coin flip, once a symbol of her impending doom, now became the catalyst for her liberation. All charges were dropped, and Sarah emerged from the courtroom with a newfound sense of freedom. Meanwhile, within the corridors of the Roswell Police Department, Chief Rusty Grant expressed his dismay. He stood appalled at the officer's careless handling of such a weighty decision. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, an investigation was launched, and the two officers were placed on administrative leave. As the story unfolded, the citizens of Roswell couldn't help but question the very fabric of justice. How could a whimsical coin toss become the arbiter of someone's fate? The incident served as a poignant reminder that the decision made by those entrusted with upholding the law should never be trivialized. This is undoubtedly an abuse of power, but would you like to witness the extent of its severity? I urge you to watch the video to the end and witness it firsthand. Anna Simmons. Jonathan Elis found himself in a dire situation. Complaints of shortness of breath and chest pain had led him to be rushed to Park Ridge Hospital. In East Ridge, his medical condition was alarming, prompting a doctor to advise him to be admitted due to intoxication, depression, and his alarming admission of suicidal thoughts. However, Elis, filled with a mix of fear and defiance, refused the doctor's advice and insisted on leaving the hospital after receiving only brief treatment. As Elis made his way home, a sense of relief washed over him. Little did he know that fate had a different plan in store. Just as he thought he was out of the woods, 3 officers from the East Ridge Police Department crossed his path on Spring Creek Road. Officer Roy Stacker, Officer Davis, and Officer Anna Simmons approached him, their presence casting a dark shadow over his escape. To his astonishment, the police officers detained Elis, asserting that he had a certificate of need that prevented him from leaving the hospital. Despite his protests and pleas, Elis found himself trapped, caught between his desire for freedom and the ironclad grip of the law. In the ensuing confrontation between Elis and the determined officers, Officer Roy Stacker abruptly grabbed Elis's arm and swiftly handcuffed him. Not to be outdone, Officer Simmons joined in, securing the suspect with an unsettling intensity. Just when Elis thought the ordeal couldn't escalate any further, Officer Davis forcefully wrapped him in a bear hug and ruthlessly slammed him onto the unforgiving road. The impact of Officer Davis's violent takedown only added to Elis's existing health woes. Jagged rocks on the road tore at his nostrils, exacerbating his injuries. To make matters worse, the brutal assault caused Elis's drip needle to be dislodged, leading to profuse bleeding. But the officers weren't content with inflicting physical harm alone. They continued to taunt and threaten Elis, brandishing their tasers with unwavering determination. Their conflicting demands of "get on your stomach" were drowned out by the weight of their bodies pressing down on Elis's back, leaving him in a state of torment and confusion. Throughout the ordeal, Elis, desperately pleading for relief from the pain and discomfort, implored the officers to ease the cuffs. Yet his pleas fell on deaf ears, as the officers callously disregarded his injuries and the agony he was enduring. Adding insult to injury, Officer Anna Simmons, with a cruel smirk on her face, degraded Elis, calling him a silly goose. The officers seemed to revel in their display for power, showing little regard for the human being they had subjected to such brutality. In response to the horrifying incident, Elis decided to take legal action. With the guidance of his attorney, Robin Flores, he filed a lawsuit against the 3 officers involved in his arrest and the city of East Ridge. The violations cited in the lawsuit included assault, battery, unreasonable seizure by excessive force, failure to protect, failure to render aid, and conspiracy to violate civil rights. Elis sought $500,000 in punitive damages, aiming to hold the officers accountable for their actions. In an attempt to defend his actions, Officer Roy Stacker claimed that Elis had been combative, justifying their use of excessive force. Roy Stacker further mentioned that they were unaware of Elis's use of blood thinners, implying that if they had known, they would have employed less aggressive tactics. However, it soon came to light that both Officer Roy Stacker and Officer Simmons had previous pending cases against them, even before encountering Elis. Officer Simmons, in particular, had a troubling record of using excessive force. She had been caught on her body camera using unnecessary aggression against a non-threatening woman in a previous arrest. This pattern of violence was becoming all too familiar, leading to her dismissal from the East Ridge Police Department. Unfortunately, her departure was short-lived, as she soon found employment within the Bradley County Sheriff's Office. Officer Roy Stacker and Officer Davis, on the other hand, faced disciplinary procedures for their involvement in the incident. While the fired officer managed to secure new employment, the outcome of Elis's case was still hung in the balance, awaiting a decision from the court. Jonathan Elis's story serves as a haunting reminder of the potential abuses of power within the law enforcement system. It highlights the urgent need for justice and accountability, as Elis seeks to regain his physical and emotional well-being while striving to ensure that no one else falls victim to such brutality.